Since 1979, we've been searching for perfection. We've been thinking, sketching, and designing. We've been building, assembling, and strengthening. We've been cutting, shaping, and painting. We've created strength and beauty time and again. Our machines are made for one thing: the perfect hit. We are the crouch. We are the bind. We are the set. We are the squeeze. We are the hit. We are Rhino, home of the scrum.
In our game, we play with our heart.
Welcome back to Aviva Stadium. It is Houston, Texas, Space City. John Broker, joined by Pat Clifton. 2 more games today in the stadium, as well as on field number 1. And this one, the Pacific Coast is going to take on the Southeast in this big matchup. Pat, exciting one coming.
Yeah, for sure. It's our first look at the Southeast Bears here today. First time we've had them on the call. Quite a few Queens players. A very good program down there, making it all the way to the semifinals in NCR's Division I this last fall. Tennessee, Lander, Auburn, Belmont Abbey. Some really good programs represented there. Excited to get our eyes on them.
In white, going to be kicking off, running from right to left on your screen is going to be the Pacific Coast, the Grizzlies taking on the Bears. Pat, I was leaving that joke for you, the Grizzlies versus the Bears. You said it just a couple of minutes ago. But that is what we have coming up here. 2 more games today. We'll get you their records. People looking good. Underway we are at Pacific Coast. Kyle Jackson kicking that one off over at the Bears' head. The Bears obviously in the the blue, purple, and white there, running from left to right on your screen. And yes, Queens players, runner-up in NCR D1 playing in this one. Good coaching staff there. Lots of great players. We're going to bring you all of this action coming up. It's the first thing we're going to have here is a Southeast Bears lineout. And they've taken that one down clean outside the 22. Off they move. Little bobbled ball there. Pacific Coast growing into the weekend here. Lots of phenomenal players out here. Good challenge for them. Southeast, a continually improving part of the country rugby-wise. Schools like Lander and Queens, very important to that. Southeast Bears launch one forward through Thomas Mussey. Also the junior from Lander, Paraguayan native. Little step coming around the back here from Devon McGee. McGee puts a pass away. Here come the Grizzlies. Not releasing, however, so we're going to come back. It's going to be Southeast, and they've gone quick. Referee says, no, you got to play that one. That's what you try to do, and that's Marshall Frank taking the ball forward. A little pass from Mussey. They're looking for some space there, the Bears. They are across midfield. Good work here. A little chip up over the top, making him work for it. Ball goes back, winds up into the hands of Naranjo, playing a fullback. He is a multi-talented player. We've seen him a bit at scrum half as well.
Correction coming in from the Godfather himself, Steve Cohen. Queens actually lost in the final of NCR's Division I to Brown.
Yeah, I said that.
You go wrong? You were on that call, John. I mean,
I called that game, so yeah, I thought I remembered it. A little chippy. 10 yellow cards and a red. So it was a hallmark game, a card for every occasion. As that one gets pushed downfield, it is going to be... Go ahead.
Wow. I was going to make a joke about how championship games, they give you souvenir yellow cards, so you actually have to have 10 on hand. It's a nice touch from NCR branded souvenir cards.
Yes, yes. That's both these teams 2-0, Pat, by the way. Their third game of the day here. So a lot to play for. Southeast looking strong. Southeast 19-12 over the Independence White, and then 14-13 over the Tri-State Foundry. But knocked that one on. It's going to be Pacific Coast ball. One of these teams most likely go through 3-0, 1-2-1, unless there's a draw.
Southeast, as you mentioned, not traditionally the strongest region in the world for college rugby. It used to be just that Life University was kind of an island when it came to daily training environments, but now there's a bunch. We mentioned Queens, we mentioned Lander, there's Belmont Abbey, there's Rio Grande represented in this team as well.
Yeah, there's some great players south and across the board. Lots of high school rugby in North and South Carolina, Georgia, Florida as well. So a lot of growth in the South. St. Thomas going to be another full-time university in the Miami area, coached by Gavin McLeavy. And that's Milan Van Wyck. Launches one downfield and finds touch.
Something tells me Gavin's going to bring in a lot of Milan Van Wicks. Spent a lot of time working in the industry as a recruiter, bringing overseas players to American universities, and now he's got his own program to do that for.
Yeah, he certainly does. I do a bit of work with him down in Rugby America's North and the Caribbean countries, so there's some good connections there. But as well, the Miami area youth rugby is heavily Uruguayan and Argentinian, so he may get some pathways there as well. As the Pacific Coast Grizzlies, we'll just keep going on what we have here. Preston James barrels his way across midfield. Quickly they go again, get the ball up in the hands. They're awaiting number 5. I don't know the number on him, so can't give you the name, unfortunately. Ball comes across here. Southeast has taken that one away, and Luke Teixeira takes that one down. So the runner's off to that right-hand side. They're going to launch one back this way. Naranjo looking for a runner. Naranjo finds a runner. That should be Chase Basson. Electric so far. Naranjo moves that one quickly. Jackson. And Delalose in the number 10 slot for this game. Takes a hold of that one. Ball gets back in the hands of Mussy. Mussy finds a break there. He's across the 40-meter line. The Lander player spills that one forward. However, referee didn't seem to spot it. Looked like it went forward of his hand to me, but better place than I am. Marshall Frank, the big unit. Grad student, 5'8", 275, rumbled his way to the 40-meter line. McLean digging that one out. It's Mussy. Looking for a run around the back, a little isolated, going to have to keep his feet. Good work coming in there, and players cleared off, but a penalty against the Pacific Coast here. One of the Bears is going to be taken off the field.
It's like Kyle Van Niekirk, the open side flanker from Queens. It's a big loss if he comes off, but he's trying to stay on. They're going to let him, so I think he's okay. Just walking a little gingerly back to the middle of the field to do some more of the yeoman's work, wearing that 7 on his back. tell you, the standard has really improved as the day has gone on. Called our first game with the Pacific Coast Grizzlies at 9 a.m. locally in Houston. That was 7 a.m. their time back on the West Coast. And it seems like night and day here. The handling has come up, the awareness, the connectivity across the pitch. Standard of rugby is really fun to watch right now.
Certainly is getting better. Get better tomorrow as well as we get into sort of the knockout rounds for all of these teams. Movement coming around is Marshall Frank ready to put his wing right on the 22. Rowan Shawver at the front there. All up for the Bears. They're looking for a maul, but it gets spilled back into the Pacific Coast Grizzlies' hands. A little sideways run coming from Valance there. And 5, Connor Kelly. For some reason, there's on my list. Had to look back into the notes here. Takes that one. Little spin around for Von Wick. Von Wick working his way through a forest of Bears defenders. Short pass coming in. Big tackle from Rowan Shawver, the Queen's University player, engineering physics major. Off come the Grizzlies, not making much ground here. Looking for a big break, but not getting it. Might want to opt for the kick here. Endela Lose calling for the ball. Endela Lose is going to keep running this one. And the Pacific Coast Grizzlies content to go through the phases inside their own 22 and eventually draw the penalty there. Player not releasing for the Southeast. Opportunity to push this one downfield.
Good patient defense there from the Pacific Coast. Under a lot of pressure from the Southeast. Able to subside that, stand it, just stay patient, make your tackles, force the turnover, eventually force the Southeast into a mistake, and now you can clear your lines. A little bit of space. Last time Milan Van Wyck touched the ball, he was surrounded by about 5 Southeast Bears in his immediate area. And now you've got 20 meters at least between your back line and theirs. Let's see if you can give them some space to work with.
Player for the Southeast just being attended to here at Aviva Stadium. Wait for him to get attended to, and then we'll come back up. In the other's pool, so both these times, teams 2-0, so this is a big decider. Independence Red 2-0 in the other in Pool A. Midwest and Great Lakes are 1-1, and Mid-Atlantic Sharks, Thunder Sharks, are 0-2. Emdela Lose moves that ball to Von Wick. He gets a rushing defense coming at him. McGee working hard here. Ball out to the wing. Basson, the Legion U23 player from the San Diego area. Draws a penalty there against Mussey. Another opportunity here for Pacific Coast. Von Wick is going to kick this one downfield for his teammates.
Really good job there by the Grizzlies, getting that ball out under immense pressure. It was Travion Reed leading the blitz from the outside in on that back line on that last line-out play. And they were able to just sneak the pass out just barely before the pressure made contact. And themselves another attacking opportunity.
McAlarnon here from CSU Maritime. Marine Transportation major. Gets that ball in, but it comes to a penalty and a knock on there against Pacific Coast. So the Southeast Bears going to push this one downfield through Mussey. Mussey is not going to find touch, however. Push back onto it, Naranjo. Naranjo decides he's going to have a run. He was happy to have a run from anywhere. A penalty for a player coming off their feet there. Referee says, let's hold up. Maybe a card coming here.
Fortuitous turn of events there for Southeast. Didn't waste any time on that penalty. Punted it, went very aggressively, missed touch by a solid 20-plus meters. And now you get a penalty. It's actually kickable potentially, just outside the 22. Or you could punt this thing up and get yourself a point-blank line out if you like.
Referee's still having a discussion here about the player coming off the ground or coming off their feet. Might be a card coming, but shall see. Indeed there is. Bassan will take a little bit of a breather here for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. One less player on the field for the Bears to deal with. Looks like they're going to push this one towards the corner.
Bassan's such a good athlete. He's forced his way onto this all-star team and into the starting lineup for the Pacific Coast, even though this is his first year ever playing rugby. We saw him make kind of a rookie mistake in the game earlier for the Grizzlies, not touching the ball down and knocking on just before. He had the plenty of opportunity to slide it in, but decided to try and center it. And here, picking up a penalty and looking a little confused what it's for, and it's going to cost him a few minutes on the bench.
Marshall Frank good with that one. The drive forward coming from the Southeast Bears. Southeast Bears, Marshall Frank gets a hold of it, but a wrestling match against Seth Valance. Again, they work towards the line. The Southeast Bears 2 meters out. Screaming forward is Bazarian at the back. A big pile of bodies head off one way. Marshall Frank at the back. Not going to take a hold of this one, but over the line they go. Try awarded. Southeast Bears look very pleased. We'll see who that was. Great try. 5 points to the good, Southeast.
Bears team coming out hot, coming out aggressive. And these forwards didn't have much distance to go. They just screwed the ball down tight. Picked it up. Sideways is okay as long as you get that couple meters, break the gain line, and find the try zone. That's exactly what the Southeast Bears did here and take the early lead over the probably favored Pacific Coast Grizzlies.
And that Chester Stanion from Queen's University seemed to want to touch that down from Brighton in the UK. Many Queen's University of Charlotte representatives on this team. Southeast coached by Tyree Reed from Queens and Nick Withrow from Belmont Abbey. Mussy Paraguayan national team player. Add to your international collection there, Pat.
Jotting it down. Paraguay.
Slots that one. We'll be playing in is it Super Rugby Americas? Is that what the league is now?
That's right. We've got a rival competition. We've got Major League Rugby, which is, I think it's a dozen or 13 teams. I can't keep track anymore these days. With Chicago coming into the fold and Austin, LA falling off. But that's our all-domestic competition. And now Super Rugby Americas. You got the American Raptors as the U.S. team playing against pseudo-national teams from all the South American usuals. Interesting landscape for sure.
Certainly is. Things changing in an interesting way. Stanion takes the ball right away. Southeast Bears up by 7. Marshall Frank does a little bit of the hokey pokey. Drives himself forward there. A little show and go coming from the Bears. Bears on the attack just inside the 40-meter line of this Pacific Coast Grizzlies team, driving towards the line as they can. Looking to pick this one up there is McLean. Wide pass, little step there for the Bears. Bears turn that one over. Put that in the hands of Kyle Jackson. Kyle Jackson, Sam Houston State student. It's that. Ball comes down. Penalty eventually against the Bears for not releasing. Be a Pacific Coast Grizzlies penalty here at the 40-meter line.
Grizzlies, you got to think they're going to go for the corner here. Lineouts have been a bit adventurous for them so far today, but this is too appetizing an opportunity. Great kick from Van Wyck, gets him inside the 22. So whether they put them all on here, they've got a line set play, or just give the ball to 12 in space and see what he does. All those are good options, and as long as they can haul this line out in, you get clean ball away from it. Be a big
Southeast has some big beef in this line out here, so the mauling option be a little bit challenging. Not saying out of the realm of possibility, but see where they decide to go, as they're not going to get that line out. It's going to get tipped back to the Southeast Bears. Big hit comes in high. Penalty against Pacific Coast. So Southeast getting away with it for the moment. 16 and a half minutes gone in this 20-minute half.
Cannot take lineouts for granted. It's usually one of the more high percentage wins for the team putting the ball in when you get to the higher levels of rugby. But here in All-Star Rugby, when these teams are just getting to know each other, a lot of moving parts, cannot take them for granted at all.
Attempt there by Naranjo to move that one infield a little quicker than his players are ready for. We're going to have a scrum here to the Southeast Bears, just outside of their own 40-meter line.
Really impressed with this tournament. It's come together and grown a lot since they brought it back. The concept of breaking the country up into regions and systematically combing it for the best talent, putting them out here to develop and play against each other, to be identified and to have a great, rich rugby experience. It's been awesome to see.
Little chip forward there from Mussey. Finds some space. Very intelligently played. Mdalalose comes up with it. Mdalalose moves that ball across. Gets it. The name was hands, but hauled into touch. So it's going to be Southeast ball here. Just about 18 minutes gone in this first half, but 2 minutes to go.
Really impressed with Southeast here. I think they've controlled the momentum. They've kind of controlled the point of contact. They've been the ones spending most of the time in the attacking end.
Southeast comes down with this inside their own 50. They're looking for the starter play, driving forward. Across the 50-meter line they go. Runners either direction. An attack to the right. Nice line coming in there from Trevion Reed. Ball slips forward eventually. Forward pass. Scrum right at halfway. Just a little to the left here for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Time continues to wind down in this first half.
Pacific Coast, you really would like to get one on the board if you're the Grizzlies. Easier said than done. You want to play that New England Independence Red team as late tomorrow as possible. So seeding matters, even if they're both likely to get through.
Referee, a little discussion here with Trevion Reed. 6'1", 240. From Georgetown, South Carolina. Played for the Charlotte Tigers. Big squeeze coming in from the Southeast, and they're going to get awarded the penalty out of that. 10 seconds in this half on the game clock. See what they're do. Mussey comes in quick. Junior, 21-year-old.
All Queens front row, really great push there. I mean, especially in this all-star play, we talk about continuity. You talk about playing with guys that you're familiar with. That is incredibly important in the scrum. All three Queens players up front. Royals guys pushing it over. That is a national champion runner-up front row there. Queens had 2 props come here last year and get drafted into Major League Rugby out of this competition. Doyle Hedgepath getting picked up by Rugby New York. One of those guys. So Queens sees the value in this competition. Obviously their coach is coaching it, and they got their whole front row here. That's quite an advantage, I've got to think, in the scrum down time.
And Tomas Mussey with a heck of a kick, bringing it down right to the 5-meter line. Marshall Frank to put this one in. They scored from this position earlier. Come down with it, no problem. Probably the weaker side back there. Advantage against, but going over the line they are, and try awarded. That's another try for the Southeast Bears. And look at the show they are putting on in tight.
Tails up for the Bears for sure. The General Bears mauling the Grizzlies at the moment. This is a short maul here. It looks like it got taken down potentially illegally, but it doesn't matter because the try scorer kept his feet, split right through there like a hot knife through butter, and plopped out on the other side of the try line for the Southeast Bears' second score.
For the big number 4, Matthew Beacom from Tennessee, playing in Knoxville. Now playing for the Southeast Bears. They take a lead here late in the first half. This may be the last action of this half. As Tomas Mussy steps up for this one.
Several Tennessee Volunteers on this lineup. It's their first year as part of National Collegiate Rugby. They joined with Southeast Collegiate Rugby Conference this season, moving into NCR. Doing quite well in the playoffs, University of Tennessee. And a bunch of guys enjoying some select side rugby this weekend down in Houston.
Mussy lines this one up. Blair's coming at him, but he strikes it all right, but it looks like it fades off to the right-hand side there. And referee has whistled for the end of the first half here. We're at 12-0. The Southeast Bears over the Grizzlies, the Pacific Coast. We'll be back in just a second with second half action.
Since 1979, we've been searching for perfection. We've been thinking, sketching, and designing. We've been building, assembling, and strengthening. We've been cutting, shaping, and painting. We've created strength and beauty time and again. Our machines are made for one thing: the perfect hit. We are the crouch. We are the bind. We are the set. We are the squeeze. We are the hit. We are Rhino, home of the scrum.
In our game, we play with our hearts. We don't play with sticks, bats, or gloves. We don't wear shoulder pads or helmets. We keep playing when it hurts, and we leave everything on the field. What we wear must be built for our game.
In our game, we play with our hearts. We don't play with sticks.
Welcome back to Aviva Stadium. From right to left on your screen, kicking off is going to be the Southeast Bears. They're in the lead 12-0 over the Pacific Coast Grizzlies in white, who are going to have to make up some ground. We got a ball. We're almost ready to play here at Next Level Rugby, bringing you all of this National Collegiate Rugby All-Star Shield action. Pat Clifton down just 12 here is Pacific Coast. We know they have some explosive players. What's been the difference for the Bears so far?
I think the Bears just maybe want this thing a little bit more. You know, Pacific Coast has won this title twice in the last 3 years, coming in as one of the favorites, the runner-up last year. Southeast has been an underdog. They've got more of these varsity players and programs participating this year, and I think they came to earn a lot of pride. And they both know they're going through to tomorrow, and it's about seeding at this point. And I think Southeast might just have wanted that first half a little bit more, but I'm guessing, you know, you get into a halftime huddle with Dave Bucky, and motivation's your problem. It won't be after.
First penalty against Southeast, so it's going to be Pacific Coast opportunity here at the lineout. They brought in Jason Whippy, wearing number 16 there. The very exciting Humboldt player from Santa Ana, California. Whippy finds his first line out. Ball comes across. Harrison Dahl into the scrum half position. Returning after the first couple of games. Dahl finds a runner. They're putting some big boys through right away. Pacific Coast senses the urgency that they're going to need. Dahl moves it out. Waiting a runner there. Van Wyck gets that one off to a player, comes in, and player is not supporting their weight for the Southeast, and they're certainly taking the direct route at the beginning of the second half, Pat.
Yeah, and they've made a couple of changes here. Van Wyck has moved down to fly half. It looks like he's taken the passes at first receiver. In the first half, that was Vio Imdalolose, Wayne State Wildcat. Traditionally plays fullback, so this Pacific Coast Grizzlies coaching staff, mentioned Dave Bucky earlier, Jeremy Ognall, Scott Bracken, some others involved there that decided, I think, to just shift some pieces around and see who can do what. But this second half, they made the change to put Milan Van Wyck back at first receiver, it looks like. At least he was in the last few phases. Put your best player in the position to touch the ball more is usually a good coaching strategy.
I believe they brought Sam Brown back in as well. He's played some first receiver, so they got a 1-2 punch from those guys. Whippy, excuse me, put this one in. Whippy doesn't find his mark that time. Ball slips, but still in the hands of the Pacific Coast. Advantage coming for a penalty. Referee going to have a word here.
One of those NCR souvenir cards in his pocket. Let's see if he pulls it out. And no, Marshall Frank, you're going to have to buy your souvenir this trip.
The Hendersonville native.
Good to see Trevion Reed up and walking off the pitch on his own volition, even though he looks like he's got a bit of a shoulder injury. He's nursing potentially.
Referee letting Pacific Coast now that they're a bit closer than they thought they were. Ball may come up to big Tom Williams here, wearing number 3. And it does. A lot of man to take down. Southeast Bears accomplish that feat. Looking for some runners. Been a little wide there. Nemo involved. Putting that little pass in. Ball comes across. Like Van Wyck there looking for some space. Didn't find it. Nemo again. Here comes Sam Brown into the game as a reserve. Claremont College fly half. Pick and go off the back there from Whippy. There's the big unit, Tom Williams, 6'4", 300-pounder out of Utah Valley University. Tackle in behind. Good work defensively by the Bears. Referee making sure that they stay on side. Van Wyck looking for this ball. Van Wyck gets it in a little drift. Pushes the ball out. Let's see if they can move it to the wing to Naranjo. Naranjo steps back in, and he is unafraid to take a good line. That is your man right there, Elijah Naranjo from New Mexico Tech. Touches down 5 points.
Mexico Tech, the Miners connecting there. Van Wyck on the inside. Naranjo on the outside. Really impressive movement there. Naranjo is just a fantastic player. I mentioned it a couple times. Sevens MVP last year as he led the Miners to a Sevens national championship along with Van Wyck. Lightning player out wide in 15s as well. The Pacific Coast team coming back into the second half with a much higher sense of urgency, sense of purpose. Maybe a few more of those first side players back on the pitch as well, in positions of familiarity.
No good on the kick, so it's 12-5. Southeast leads Pacific Coast. Just a converted try in at 5 minutes gone in the second half. Here in beautiful Aviva Stadium, home of Major League Rugby's Houston SaberCats. And home of a lot of NCR rugby these days, Pat.
That's right, the national championships, the CRC 15s, hosted here in December. National championships here again a month later. Headed to DC for the Sevens championships this April, moving them up into the school window for the first time ever.
Ball knocked back there.
Friends and family in the stands there.
Thought that's what happened. Ball knocked on by the Southeast. We scrum here to Pacific Coast.
Pacific Coast has a long way to go here. Let's see what they opt to do. We're just barely into the second half, but these halves are not very long. So in a 15s match that's full length, you'd be sitting here worried about your time at this point, down just a score. So will they keep ball in hand, or will they still see territory as an option?
Southeast putting the squeeze on there with their scrum. Able to get away our Pacific Coast. Southeast on the defensive now at the 40. Ball sent back in from Dahl and Brown. Back in, we're waiting forward. Sorry, that was Naranjo. Penalty again against Southeast.
It's good season championship play here. No sense, I mean, you got the right sense of urgency. You have to have that, but no sense of panic from the Grizzlies. Taking your time. Make sure you put that ball out. We saw Southeast earlier in the first half take one of the quickest punts to touch ever and miss the touchline by a wide margin. A smart move there by Pacific Coast to measure twice before they cut once.
Taking a look at the other field here. Where it's Independence White versus Tri-State, the Foundry. But back to this game, Naranjo has been electric for this team. Trey Kersey, not always easy to bring down. Pressure coming in as Harrison Dahl moves that one away. Up into the hands of Seth Valance. Seth Valance brings it to the middle of the field, just about 42 meters out. Dahl again to Van Wyck. Van Wyck moves it wide quickly. This is a Whippy. He hands off one. Whippy puts in a short pass. Looking down that wing are the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Looking back for another penalty against the Southeast. This one for a high tackle. Penalty is just the undoing of this Bears team right now, Pat.
Yeah, that's right. Southeast, an unfortunate hamster wheel of doom. Need to find their discipline, find some patience. Realize that they're up. They still got a lead. There's no reason for them to play panicked. They're giving Pacific Coast an awful lot of opportunity at the moment.
Certainly have been. Ball to the front this time for Pacific. They go to Williams. Big man gets things started for them. Another penalty. Player coming off their feet for the Southeast. And this has got to result in a card eventually.
Yeah, we saw him have a little chat earlier. Marshall Franks. You kind of felt the referee had a little bit of an indecision moment where he couldn't decide whether he wanted to go to the pocket or not. Decided not to. But they're mounting at this point.
Von Wick gets this one going quickly, gets it up to Williams. Williams going to find some ground as ever. Puts the ball up there to Uwippy. Working his way towards the line. Up to the left-hand side they go. Pardon me. Ball to Brown. And fighting their way towards the line they come. Dahl moves to Von Wick. Von Wick finds a runner in the middle of the field. Little handoff there. Working their way across are the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Von Wick, there's a man you want to have a hold of the ball. It is him, but it's beaten back by the Southeast Bears. Shot taken there for Ben Waters, but he's able to get. Sorry, it wasn't Ben Waters. It was Chase Piatti. He's able to get that one down.
Some tough running there by Sean Munemo, Wayne State Wildcat, playing flanker. Good pressure applied by the Grizzlies, but they're going to have to wait to convert it to points. There isn't
Spiatti back
much
up.
better tandem I'd rather have in a counterattack returning here than Naranjo and Van Wyck.
Spiatti, the Rio Grande player from Charlotte. Long high kick, but it drifts across field there. Good opportunity here for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. A big barrel and run coming in from that man right there, Chase Basson, but he can't find the line. Spending some time in the bin in the first half. Oh, moves this one out to Williams. Williams gets up all the way. Williams, if that pass was good, it's good. It's a try. Seth Valance. Seth Valance scores that one. A couple different numbers here, so my apologies, but Valance, great try from a Tom Williams offload.
Just a couple of really strong carries. That's Munemo. We called him out on their last trip to the 22. He's doing some hard yards again. And then Williams with the big carry and a cheeky little offload. Not sure how he squeezed that one off, but he did, and Valance cashed it in.
Valance, the Wayne State player from Hartbeespoort, South Africa.
Sometimes brute force is all you need. And it worked that time in short distance for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Real bear fight we got going on here. Just what you'd expect between a Grizzly and a group of General Bears, John.
I knew we'd get it sooner or later. It's Grizzlies versus every other kind of bear, Pat. It's a very interesting...
all at once.
interesting battle. And that kick is good, so we are tied at 12 here with it's about 7 minutes to go. Player getting looked at here. So it'll take just a second for kickoff.
Maybe the best match we've had the pleasure of calling so far today, John. Two really good teams. Pacific Coast woke up in the second half, and both of these teams really want a result, going after it. Southeast seems to be reeling a bit. They got a player down, having some discipline issues. All the momentum seems to be in Pacific Coast direction, but as you know, in rugby, one kickoff, one bounce of the ball can switch that in an instant.
Medical staff here at the stadium going to go take a look. After this, we're going to have Independence Red versus Great Lakes Thunderbirds. That'll be our last game of the day here in the stadium field. Mid-Atlantic will play Midwest on field number 1. Right now, it's Independence White and Tri-State Foundry over on field 1. Player up and coming off his own accord, which is good. He's okay. Southeast gets us going again right outside the 22. Player tried to kick it away, but turns into a knock-on. Knock-on advantage here for the Southeast Bears. Who they decide to do it, they're going to put big Marshall Frank in charge of the ball. Marshall Frank outside the 22-meter line. First receiver stepping in there was Fussell. Haven't seen too much of him so far this game, but working in an important moment there. Also, they come with Fussell, Belmont Abbey player, sports management major. Southeast again, Marshall Frank, a little tip pass. Doesn't come to much. The Bears going to be able to recycle this ball. Might have been better to do to get the scrum they had on offer just a little while ago. Fussell puts the pass in. It's rolling towards the touchline. Working their way backwards to their 40-meter line are the Southeast Bears. Need to get a little go forward here.
They got numbers out wide if they can manage to connect.
Great turnover by the Grizzlies.
Southeast had numbers out wide for a few phases there. A little slow to recognize it. They kept running it back into the teeth of the defense one too many times. They get turned over. You had Jason Whippy in the Grizzlies back line. He looked left and right and saw way too much real estate for himself to cover. He was quite vociferously calling for some teammates to come out, but the Bears couldn't spin it wide quickly enough to take advantage. So now we've got the Pacific Coast Grizzlies trying to snatch back the momentum after that kickoff right off the turnover.
Whippy goes long, gets the ball up to the try-score. Valance. Big run coming in here from Brandon Bachman. Bachman reserve in the team here. Doug Barnes. Douglas Barnes gets to the 22. Pacific Coast would love to close this out. It's Brown to Von Wick. Von Wick cuts back in. On out to that left-hand side, looking for Tom Williams, and have found him. They're across the 22. They've got numbers out here. Let's see what they can do. Von Wick gets it down to Brown. Brown looking for a runner. Brown finds a connection. They're looking at the try line. They're a couple of meters away. Here come the Grizzlies. Raising his hand is Bachman. Bachman runs into Frank. Clash of the Titans right there. Coming across into the hands of Barnes again. Some of these big replacements here for Pacific Coast. Certainly put in the work. Here's a Whippy. Whippy's got good footwork for a fella his size. Sneaks it away to Valance. We've seen this before. And Seth Valance gets number 2 in a row. And Pacific Coast takes the lead late.
Cal Poly Humboldt offloading there to Valance from Wayne State.
Wayne State.
Pacific Coast really lethal up here, nice and tight. Jason Whippy evading one tackle, soaking up 2 more defenders before slipping that pass off to Valance. The Saffer up in Wayne State, Cummings County, beef country. He's bringing the beef to the Bears between the posts, taking the lead. Pacific Coast Grizzlies, the comeback kids. We saw them come back in their first game of the day, down by just a try in that one, down by 2 in this one. But the Grizzlies have been impressive in their comeback bid.
They benefited from the beef there. That was Tom Williams and another few other big boys, Brandon Bachman, Doug Barnes, and then a Whippy getting the ball up there to Valance. All he had to do was touch that one down. Great work to be in the right place. But the beneficiary, any number of big boys, and that one is good. We're at 19-12. Barely any time to play. These Southeast Bears need to do something to bring themselves back in here.
Wayne State is a great example of these new programs. You know, Principia is another one, Siena, who have really started to pump up their international recruiting. And it's really a driver for enrollment for the school and for enrollment dollars, and it's really benefited the rugby program. And not just in bringing in foreign players and letting them beat Americans, but play alongside them. We see a guy like Javier Luong playing for the Midwest Barbarians as a scrum half, playing with guys like Valance and Indolo Lose from all over the world, from top-tier rugby playing countries, makes them better. And I think this competition is a really good example of how that all works together to really improve the standard of American rugby.
Big kick back down into their zone and hauled into touch are the Southeast Bears. Good pressure, great kick from Brown. And down deep in their own end are the Southeast Bears. Looking at it right here, 4 or 5 seconds on the game clock. We'll see how much referee's time there is.
Pacific Coast controls this thing. Be interested to see if they decide to go for the try, if they've got a line set call that they're going to try and execute, or if they're just going to bury this thing into go into victory kneels, if you will, the victory formation, and kneel this thing down. Spoke too early because you have to win the line out before you can do that.
Certainly do. And it's a free kick here for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. See, I'm sure Von Wick will be discussing the time with the referees if he can. I'm sure he'd love to just kick this one in a touch. Boys may still want to play. I'm sure the coaching staff would be happy to get them back to the hotel. They're going to play.
Speed time on the clock.
Williams takes a few townsfolk with him.
It's not elegant, but it's effective. Tom Williams, that man from short yardage. You give him a few minutes to catch his breath, get his legs underneath him, and he's William Refrigerator Perry in the 1985 Chicago Bears, carrying all the New England Patriots across the goal line on his back. Great run from that young man. Optimal opportunity for him. Give me a few seconds to gather my wits. Then everyone thinks that Lawnman Wick is going to tap and run this thing. Then I get it, and I just have to run through a few guys. Easy money for Tom Williams. Great comeback for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies, scoring 4 unanswered tries to beat the Southeast Bears.
He is, as we said, 6'4", 300-pound man right there. He's an education major. I'm sure he's going to have the most disciplined classroom in the school. I'm not sure who's going to want to talk back to the big fella. But Williams scores a great try there. And this may be the final action of this game. We said we're going to have Independent Red versus Great Lakes coming up.
Impressive run there from Tom. Utah Valley, what an addition they have been, and their Wolverines and players to this competition, International Collegiate Rugby. Really stretching the footprint west and presenting great opportunities for them to step on a stage like this and raise their hand for higher honors and really get developed and enjoy a rich playing experience.
And that kick is no good. I think we have another play coming here. Referee is handing the ball to a kicker, so Southeast, another opportunity here. We'll see if he discussed with the Pacific Coast players that this could be the final play of the game. Pardon me. Comes Southeast, a little delayed run there, delayed pass from Barnes. On the way, continuing to pick and go the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Brown knows it's time to get this over with, so he launches the ball towards touch. 24-12, Pacific Coast is going to be the Southeast Bears. Second to last game of the day here on Stadium Field. We're going to come back. It is going to be the Thunderbirds of the Great Lakes taking on Independent Red in Pool A. We'll be back on the hour with that. Stay tuned.
Since 1979, we've been searching for perfection. We've been thinking, sketching, and designing. We've been building, assembling, and strengthening. We've been cutting, shaping, and painting.
In our game, we play with our hearts. We don't play with sticks, bats, or gloves. We don't wear shoulder pads or helmets. We keep playing when it hurts. And we leave everything on the field. What we wear must be built for our game.
Welcome back. We're at Aviva Stadium. We're in Houston, Texas. You see the coin toss coming. Great Lakes is going to be in gray, and in red is going to be Independent Red. Here at the National Collegiate Rugby All-Stars 2023 Shield Challenge. John Broker with Pat Clifton bringing you this final match of day one. We're going to have the exciting semifinals and finals all day tomorrow. Here from the home of the Houston SaberCats, playing home to National Collegiate Rugby's All-Stars. Pat, a good final game on our hands here.
Yeah, absolutely. We got the Independents coming in at 2-0. Great Lakes coming in at 1-1. The Thunderbirds hoping to keep some hopes of making the next round alive with a win here. It would be an upset. It would be a big victory for them. Coached by John Harley, Mike Geibel, Marion, Wheeling, a couple of the coaches involved there. They're back for a second year, this same staff.
Yeah, certainly. And thank you to Mike Geibel for taking the initiative on all the player information and jersey numbering and all that. Always want to throw out that appreciation. The Wheeling University coach. So we have Wheeling. We have Sanders Slavitz from Western Michigan. John Harley, you said, is a head coach. Seth Irwin from IUP. Wes Say from Miami of Ohio. And John Fox from Thomas More. Quite a coaching staff here. Independence Red coaching staff. Ed Turbity from Northeastern. Dave LaFlamme from Brown University, NCR's D1 champions. Kyle Sumption, first-year head coach at Dartmouth, previously at Army West Point. And Matt Terest from UMass Lowell, the manager. And thank you, Matt, for all the great information. Some contrasting styles on their way here as Independent Red will be running from left to right on your screen. And Great Lakes, the Thunderbirds, will be coming out soon. Some exciting players, and Chief Chifumbu heading it up. Mike Mulea in the centers. Hudson Montgomery up front. A lot of fun players on this Great Lakes team. Just waiting for a referee and some players to kick this one off, and we'll be good to go here at NCR's All-Star Weekend.
Good to see Brian Arnold back on the pitch. Good player for IUP. They made a nice deep run in the Division II playoffs, making it all the way to the final. They ran into the buzzsaw that is the Principia Thunder Chickens.
Thunder Chickens, certainly exciting players to watch there. See Great Lakes taking the field.
A couple of big units from the Wheeling Cardinals in the back row for the Great Lakes. Aaron Juma, the 6'1", 225-pound open side flanker from Harare, joined by fellow Zimbabwean Rua Karamazando, then 6'3", number 8. And watch those guys for sure in the gray.
And kicking it off, Chief Chifumbu to get us underway here. The exciting number 10 Zimbabwe U20 player. Hangs that one up, but it's not going to make it 10 meters. So mistake to start there from Chifumbu. See him not pleased with that action, but we're going to come the captain, Malcolm Robinson. He's going to want to scrum at the midfield here.
Malcolm Robinson played every minute of every game in last year's championship, helping the Independents win that thing. Absolute stalwart. For some reason, one of the unsung heroes at Dartmouth, but arguably their best player over the last couple of years. I know that's a big argument, but he is a fantastic player.
You know, when you have a forward like that and you don't see him out in the open field, it's a coach's appreciation because he's doing a lot of hard work. Here's that independent scrum trying to push on this Great Lakes team right away. Well, Voath has a ball in hand. Good tackle coming in there on Reed Santos. Santos has to knock that ball back. We have a offsides penalty against the Independents. It's going to be Great Lakes opportunity here. You see big Ivan Delgado there from Western Michigan talking to the referee already about the scrummaging from the Independents. I think something's being done illegally.
Yeah, control everything you can, I suppose.
Yeah, just trying to get in his ear, make him think there's something going on there. Jack Swords playing in the front row. Number 22, opposite Delgado there. They're going to go to the front, our Great Lakes. That one's going to be a little bit miscued and knocked on. So it's going to be a scrum or line out, or a scrum actually. That happened once the ball came in for the Independents. 15 meters in here. We'll see what they decide to do with this ball.
We're going to get to the bottom of that scrum, see if I haven't had much of an argument. It's a big group up front, Wheeling, Western Michigan, Indiana. Or I apologize, I misread that. We've got Western Michigan at prop and Indiana, Peyton Wall, a fantastic hooker there in the middle.
Referee getting a set in here again. Voath put this one in, the Boston College psychology major from Cincinnati. And two-time national championship, single school and high school. St. Ignatius. Off the back they come through. Estevez, the Portugal U20 player and U18 captain. Voath comes across, finds big Jack Swords. That student at Dartmouth, loosely with Holy Cross. Independents push that one downfield. Chipfumbu gets a ball and moves it quickly. Big pressure coming in on this Great Lakes team. Chipfumbu has to take this one into contact. He's held up so far. He has a lot stronger fellas around him. We'll see what they can do here as the ball eventually comes to the ground. So Great Lakes is going to lose this one to the Maul for the Independents. Great work there on Chipfumbu, a very elusive runner. Getting a hold of him is hard enough, keeping him up. Very well done, Independents.
We saw Delgado come in and try to wrestle that thing away at the last second, but too late. Getting held up into the tackle is a frustrating thing to have happen to you. You can see Chipfumbu flailing those legs, trying to find an anchor and get down to the ground.
Delgado in his note says he's a pet lizard named Magnus. Hopefully Magnus is okay with his father away playing rugby for the weekend in Houston, Texas. Looking one way, going the other. Estevez gets to the Voath. They have a runner coming in the center. Great work coming in from Gabe Reardon, but can't find his way through. The pass went forward nonetheless. Scrum for the Thunderbirds.
Scrums have looked pretty competitive so far. Seen the Reds put people on skates earlier in this competition. This Great Lakes pack is holding its own, though. Chris Jensvold from Louisville, part of the MAC conference, one of the new conferences to join National Collegiate Rugby this fall. 6'4", 230 pounds from Fishers, Indiana. Actually played in the program that John Harley, the head coach for the Great Lakes, helped start.
Kick comes out there. Here it comes on T-Sev. T-Sev scored 2 tries in the last one. Gets that pass to Kamara, but he can't quite go to hand. Picked up by Great Lakes. Great Lakes. No advantage shown here from the referee. Inside their own 40. We'll see if they decide to go with this. Looking wide and keeping on his own is Chipfumbu. Penalty against. Player coming off their feet for the Thunderbirds. Opportunity for this Independence Red team as Ollie Corbett gets ball in hand.
So they're going to go for some points here. New England having to wait 5 minutes to take a lead. They haven't something they haven't had to do all that often. So maybe getting a little itch to get some points on the board. And we're going to line it up here with Santos.
Santos from Babson College, a triple concentration in entrepreneurship, real estate strategy, and consulting. Really only count 2, but triple concentration, we'll give it to him from the International School of Manila.
Got great range, a lot of leverage at 6'2" as a kicker.
Assistant referees say that's good. 3-0 opens the scoring here for the Independence Red. Great Lakes to kick this one off.
Great Lakes have really, I think, stood up to the test so far early on. Just a couple of penalties going against them. But it hasn't been the run of play. They have been standing right there with the Independents, especially in the scrum this time.
Independents field that one cleanly. Big hit comes in from Great Lakes. Great Lakes turns it over. Great Lakes on the move now. Inside this Independence half. Moving the ball on, little shot back in there. Good work from Mulea. We're number 12, but ball goes forward. To be a scrum here for Independence. Smart thinking from Mulea, but not happening.
Nice opportunity here from the Great Lakes. Potentially put some pressure on to the Independents. Get some bit of attacking possession on this end. We got one danger man on the weak side for the Independents.
Good drive coming forward. Trying to draw a penalty are the Independents here, but they're going to move this one out. Ball spills forward. Great Lakes opportunity here. A nice break. Shoestring tackle. They recycle it. They're coming back in the other direction. They've got runners. Chipfumbu puts a ball in the middle of the field. Chipfumbu again looks for a runner. Looks for a little wraparound there. A little too fancy. See what he can make happen. Well tackled in the middle of the field, but penalty for a high tackle as he was coming down. So opportunity to level it if they would like here for Great Lakes Thunderbirds, and that's what they're going to do.
Great Lakes, smart decision here, right in front of the post, or pretty close, in front of one, if you will. It's a nice clear shot at goal. Opportunity to level the table. Pretty happy halfway through the first half if you're the Great Lakes coaching staff.
Ryan Niemiller from Bowling Green, the senior, steps up for this one. Clayton, North Carolina. Chapel Hill Rugby as a high school player. And has flown in the Goodyear blimp, Pat.
That's, boy, check that off the bucket list. That's a big one.
I know, right? 0 blimps for me.
We'll do a few blimpies. A couple of Sammys, but...
And that one ties it up at 3. Great Lakes versus Independent Red, all tied up here. Just about 10 minutes into this 20-minute first half. Everything to play for here at Aviva Stadium.
See the Bowling Green Falcon get some points on the board. Also a new member to National Collegiate Rugby this year, Mac, runners up to Louisville. They breaking a long streak. So long I couldn't even recite to you how long, but many years of Bowling Green winning that conference.
Some changes coming in here. Referee saying that's okay.
Independence getting bored with a fake cheeky restart.
High kick just inside the 40-meter line. Hit comes in from Independent, but Great Lakes will continue to hang on to this ball. Here's Hudson Montgomery from Thomas More. Hudson Montgomery, very intelligent front row player. Chipfumbu moves that one quick, slips off of his teammates, and away they come. The captain, Malcolm Robinson, carrying that one. Voath looking for a runner and finds him. Nearly doesn't go to hand for Gaffa there. Kamara hangs on to it. Gaffa comes in and cleans that one up. The Dartmouth-Brown connection Across the field they come into the hands of Big Jack Swords. Into the hands of Omar Aljandari. One of the Brown University players on the team. Voath gets a little run, draws some players in, but big hit comes, and that's thrown forward. Scrum coming for the Great Lakes Thunderbirds. Good defensive pressure from the Thunderbirds.
Which is actually what you have to do to this Independence team. You got to get up, you got to tackle them, got to make them earn all their yardage. When you give them penalties, you play into their strength. When you just play defense, front up, create manageable gaps across the field, and try to get them to break through those. As long as you can do that consistently and bring 2 sets of shoulders into each of those tackles, collapse on those gaps from each side, you're going to be fine. Play that patiently. They'll eventually commit a mistake or commit an error. That's what we do here. Now you can go on the offensive.
Big push from Independent Red, but no matter. Chief Chipfumbu puts the ball to his boot. Looking for some room back in there. A lot of pressure coming on. Good work by T7 initially. That was going to get turned over to Great Lakes. Great kick from Chipfumbu. Forces a player to take it in a touch from Independent Red.
Good kick. Kicks are only as good, though, as the chase. And a couple of Thunderbirds bearing down on the Independent all by himself. Causing a good result here for the Thunderbirds. Jensvold's a great line-out target here.
So the other side to go. Looking to get away is Corbett, but it winds up into the hands of Great Lakes. Thunderbirds on the move again. Nee Miller puts that one out to Chipfumbu. He's got a runner flat on the line. Back across they come. A long looping pass. Not getting the ball with a head start, but certainly laying down one of the Independent Red players are the Great Lake Thunderbirds. Penalized are the Independents there, not releasing in the tackle. Opportunity here for Great Lakes. They're looking for the post yet again.
Ivan Delgado wants his points. He says, we've earned our way down here. He's calling the shots. We're going to line up a second shot at posts here. The Bowling Green Falcons, see if he can find 3 more.
Both these teams looking to end off the day in a positive note here. Don't see a lot of taking the posts all the time in All-Star Rugby, but they're going to go for it right here with Nee Miller.
Kicking into the sun.
That one is not going to find its mark there. They're going to move that one quickly out to the wing and popped up by Reardon. Good work there. Nearly lost hold of it. Voath looked for them runners, finds one. Ball back, looking for the kick. They get it in. Will it find touch is the question. Has not, has drifted to the middle of the field. Here comes Chipfumbu. Chipfumbu can't get through the first tackle. Ball spills forward there. It is Independent Red ball with a scrum advantage, which would go quickly. Looking quickly is Voath. He spots some space in behind. It bounces in around the 50-meter line, takes a strange one. Chipfumbu comes down with it. Chipfumbu hauled to the ground by this Independence defense here. This is that man, Malcolm Robinson, doing the work. After on 22, a lot longer to go, are the Great Lakes team, but a player not supporting their weight for Great Lakes. Independent will get the penalty and get the reward of this one. 16 minutes gone in this first half.
Might just be trading shots at goal here.
This will be another shot.
Test match rugby. These teams both want to win this one.
Santos steps up again. Santos steps up. Santos has the distance and the direction. 6-3, they take the lead once again. 3 minutes to go in this first half.
Babson by way of Manila. Santos. Mentioned it earlier in the day, but worth a double mention here. His older brother is playing with the Falcons in Fiji. Harvard player, star of the Harvard Crimson.
I like that greater broadcast area. We called the Yale-Harvard game for Friday night rugby last October, was it now? And Santos just took hold of that game at some point in the second half. Yale got away with the win, but that was quite a performance from Santos' older brother.
Imagine the run it straight challenges in the backyard of the Santos home were pretty entertaining right now.
We'll pay attention to this Santos on independent red. His brother's already gotten his due. Big run coming in there from Robinson. He's tripped up eventually. He's going to go to ground. Players coming in trying to rip this one away. But Voath has a hold of it. Gets to Antisev. Antisev gets it out in the middle of the field, but an interception on a little tip pass comes there. We're going to come back for an offsides penalty. Too good to be true. Another opportunity here for this independent red team. And Estevez has ball in hand. Gives it to Corbett, his Brown teammate. See what they decide to do. They're going to go for posts here. Santos, when you're hot, you're hot.
Seeing some of that northeast attitude coming out. A couple of shoulder checks. Maybe a chest bump against the Great Lakes player on the way out. You can see Corbett getting pretty demonstrative. The Independents do not like not winning. And they're not used to it at this point, defending champions.
A bit more distance on this one. Win not too bad here. Santos lines it up, has the distance again. Has the accuracy again, and it is 9-3 Independence Red over Great Lakes. Time winds down in the first half here.
Six points, that's a big advantage. Big advantage, 2 scores technically. Conversion, no gimme in this competition, no gimme in rugby whatsoever. So those 3 points are valuable.
Fascinating at the end of the day here, Pat, to see a kicking duel between these two teams.
Getting closer and closer to that knockout rugby.
Independent Red put some runners in there. Good solid hit from a Thunderbird. Delgado made that hit. They're in the middle of the field to Corbett. Corbett finds a runner coming through, and Estevez. Estevez getting driven backwards. Going to have to get to the ground. It does. Great Lakes trying to make hay of that. Penalty against this independent team here. Player not releasing.
Trade more shots at goal, or I think the Great Lakes are realizing they need to get a 5-pointer here, the first of the game potentially.
Yeah, Nee Miller, the Bowling Green player. We'll put this one into touch, be an opportunity for the Great Lakes Thunderbirds. The front of the lineup they go. Well taken. Beanie was trying to disrupt that, could not. Chief Chipfumbu has a hold of the ball. Powerful run from the Thunderbirds. Nee Miller off to the right-hand side this time, just looking for that space. Time is up on the clock here in the first half, so this may be the final action, barring a penalty, and there's a penalty you cannot end on. Player not supporting his own body weight. Off they go through Chipfumbu. He wants the runners. He's got the runners. Players are back 10, so they're all set there, but you see the try line just in the back. See if Independent Red can withhold the onslaught here of this Great Lakes team. Big player coming in, trying to get the ball down there. Has he done? He is still outside of the try line. Just the big battle that goes on here. We'll see what happens. Delgado couldn't get that one down. Looked to me like a player came in from an angle there from Independent, but not so according to the referee. But that time, they're good. It is 9-8. Conversion here would put Great Lakes ahead going into the half.
Was that Chip Fumbu who got the score down? I think it was. He made the call to go for it, and I think he was the one who squirted through right here. Oh, no, he made the offload. It was him who made the offload just before. Nice pass, good handling. Great Lakes putting the momentum builder. They'll take the lead if they can slot this here, but either way, snatching the momentum going into the shed. They have stood toe-to-toe against this intimidating Reds team more than anybody else we've seen so far today. Their lineouts have been the most successful against that absolutely brutal, tall picket fence of Beanie and Corbett. They're winning points of contact against this team that other groups have not been able to do.
That one is no good. According to the referee, it's going to be 1 point in it, 9-8 as we go into halftime here. We're going to be back in just a moment with second half action here at Aviva Stadium. National Collegiate Rugby All-Star Shield Challenge, final 20 minutes a day coming up just after this. Welcome back for the final 20 minutes of the day. It is a barn burner here. Independence in red, coming from right to left on your screen, is up by 1 point over the Thunderbirds of Great Lake. I am John Broker with Pat Clifton 20 minutes to go before we get ready for Sunday, the knockout rounds. The time it all counts right now, very important for both these teams. Just ahead is the Independence Red. Pat Clifton, thoughts for the second half for these teams?
Well, I've done some tabulating, and here's what's at stake, right? So if the Great Lakes team wins and goes 2-1, that would force the Northeast Independent Red into being 2-1. And then playing on Field 1 right now is also the Midwest Barbarians and Mid-Atlantic. And if the Midwest Barbarians would win that, they would also be 2-1. So there could be a three-way tie at the top of this pool if the Great Lakes can pull off the upset.
We shall see as we go on. Chief Chipfumbu gets rid of that one. Get the ball down there, and it winds up in Abe Kamara's hands, the Colorado resident. Gets that ball pulled away, and Dartmouth student Abe Kamara. Colorado Springs, a penalty early on here, not releasing. Kamara didn't have enough support around him there. Isolated in Great Lakes through Niemiller. Push that one downfield. They'll have a line out just outside the 40-meter line of the Independent Red.
Great Lakes have had some good success in this offensive line out. Something nobody else has really had against the Independent so far. I spoke too soon on that one.
However, yeah, comes down. Corbett, a good line-out operator, comes down with that one. Ball to Duque. Duque comes in as a substitute in that scrum half position. He's going to have to release it there for Great Lakes. Big run coming in here from Malcolm Robinson. Starting to see him a little more ball in hand in this game. And T-Sev looking wide. Slipping through the tackle there was Reardon, but he's eventually taken down. Duque looking for a runner. Got in T-Sev, going to get that ball in the middle of the field. Big Jack Swords is going to take that one. Players are wrestling their way in there from Great Lakes, but not coming away with it is Ivan Delgado. Looking for the chip ahead is T-Sev. Spots some space in behind. Chipfumbu gets a hold of it. He shows one way and goes the other. Deep in their own end, outside their 22. Dangerous days here from this Great Lakes team that really likes to have a go. But we have a penalty for a knockdown against the Independent Red. Santos was trying to knock that ball back, but it just went forward a little bit. But good pressure on him there from the Independent Red.
Fortunate maybe to escape a yellow card, but the referee saw it the same way as you there, John, giving Santos the benefit of the doubt.
Great Lakes able to push this one down to just inside their own half.
Robinson looking like a dog on a leash at the back of this line out, looking to pressure any mishap. And there he is on top of it.
Messy lineup, but taken by the Great Lakes team. Little spin move there, looking for open play out wide. They've got the ball. Spilled forward, however. Independent Red have a hold of it. Kamara steps in, was going to play in the distributor position. Is not going to now. Ball back to Corbett. Corbett lowers his shoulder. Corbett. Players coming in at Duque. Wants a runner and finds one. And Duque looking in the other direction now. Send the ball back. Slightly tipped, but Chipfumbu comes down with it. Chipfumbu can't get ahead of steam. Great tackle by Kamara. Penalty, however. Player not holding their own weight there. Referee's quick to call this, and this may wind up on a card here.
That's a difficult card. I'm not even sure it was a penalty, and he's going to give him a card.
Yeah, I'm not sure I am with that one either.
Firmly sunk in the sod the entire time. Going to get called for diving over. Yeah, I mean, that went so well with the referee. The referee, when he was brought in the captain and the offended player, the captain started arguing, and he had to back him up too. So some contention on the field on that one.
Ball down, doesn't find touch. Kamara finds a little room to run. Kamara gets outside the 22. Great Lake players over the top there quickly. Barreling in just outside is Omar Aljandari. Aljandari, the ball away. Have to be careful down here. Will the Independent Red. Turnover. Now we have a whistle and a player calling for, the referee was signaling for a replacement. And I think a player hit his head on the ground there.
Looks like some kind of head injury. Good to see the referee not take any leeway on that one. Give no slack to it. Let's call attention, get the medical professionals on the field and figure out what's going on right away. This game's starting to get pretty contentious. There's 15 minutes of rugby left. The only way the Independents can guarantee their way into the semifinals would be with a victory here. Same thing with the Great Lakes. Only way to keep their hopes alive is with a victory.
Player off for a check there. Matias Calvo comes onto the field.
New England still playing down a man after that ominous yellow card. Notice that the kick did not go to touch right after that. Ball doesn't lie.
Certainly made a big difference. Little ball coming around looking for Kamara, but Kamara getting a bit of a messy ball there. Referee's going to whistle it. It's going to be a scrum here for Great Lakes just outside the 22 of Independent. Great opportunity for them 5 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, that's not a place to force an error deep in your own end. Right around the 22-meter line, you're down a man. You really got to shore up your handling there. Kamara needs to dust that off, have a short memory. Back to playing some tough defense here. As I said again, Independence playing with 14.
Big pressure coming in from the Independents. We have our arm out for an advantage for the Great Lakes. Big hit comes in on Chip Fumbu. Wrestle for the ball here. I guess it was an advantage. If he did have his arm out. No, we're going to come back. Here goes Chip Fumbu. Chip Fumbu trying to catch some players off sides. Referee doesn't think so, but they're going to go quick. They're looking at the line. Here come Great Lakes. Great Lakes scored from this position at the end of the first half. Looking to do it again. Obviously, the Independent Red have different ideas about this. Staying in tight come Great Lakes through some of the big boys. Another attempted move at the line. Corbett has a hold of the ball. Can the player get it down? Has he rolled too many times? Are they diving over? They are not. Try awarded. 5 points to the good there, and the lead gets taken for this Great Lakes team.
Here we go. The Great Lakes Thunderbirds punching it in from short range. Every single carry, a wrestling match. And this time they were able to dive over from the top ropes, dot it down. Looks like some Independents might have disagreed with it, but great defense from them, but too much of the Thunderbirds. You can tell they want this one quite a bit, trying to punch their way into the semifinals for the first time here at the All-Star Shield Challenge.
4 points up now. This would put them up 6. They can hit this kick. Chip Fumbu lining this one up.
He absorbed a big tackle on that last possession. You can see him up and ready to kick again.
Chip Fumbu checking the wind here. Assistant referees say that's no good. Oh, they say that is good, actually. Flag went up in the air there. So 6-point lead here for the Great Lakes Thunderbirds.
New England Independence finding themselves in a rare position now. Down late.
There are 15 minutes to go. Plenty of time
Our game
here.
clock hasn't restarted, so I'm not sure, and it's been a minute since it's been frozen, so I'm not sure how much time they've got down on the pitch.
We'll find out. Great Lakes coming through Chipfumbu. It's a ball to Montgomery. Montgomery doesn't get ahead of steam, but able to get a couple of yards there. They're rolling away for Independent Red, but not quick enough for the referee.
Got to find some patience here for the Independents. Find some patience, find some teammates, look right and left of you, connect to the guy immediately to the right and left in defense, and make sure you put 2 shoulders on every single tackle. That's really all you can do here. And then wait for the mistake, and when it happens, you pounce on it. If you try to force it, you're going to end up giving the Thunderbirds more free yardage like you just did.
Certainly would. They're going to look at this ball, trying to go after this one. You see at the front, players coming in and closing it off for Independent Red. And as you said, the patience isn't there, so they're going to get a free kick. Chief Chipfumbu is going to get to move quickly here. On the attack again inside the Independent Red 22 are the Great Lake Thunderbirds. Great Lakes looking strong here as this game moves on. Mulea tries to step that one. Sorry, that was Chipfumbu that stepped in that time. Again, Mulea's out here in the number 12 trying to wrap around the outside. Are the Great Lake Thunderbirds. Player gets to the ground eventually. Ball recycled up to one of the big boys, Feldman. And we have a penalty advantage here to the Great Lakes. See what happens with this one. Miller looked like he saw some space. He did, but he can't quite close it down. Comes back, however, to Independent Red. It's going to be a penalty against the Independents for a high tackle.
Penalty after penalty really starting to mount here. Thunderbirds take their time, make your decisions, get lined up, make sure everybody's on the same page. You got a 6-point lead. Any points here is going to put this thing in a really good spot for you.
Sending some of the big fellas through. Looking to get in the wrestling match again here, just inside the 5-meter line. Pushing towards the line, looking at the line, over the line. Try awarded to Great Lakes. Excellent work there, and it looks like that was the man, Hudson Montgomery from Thomas More. Touches one down for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, great carry by the big fella. Looks like an absolute unit. Charging forward here, just great crab crawl by everybody. He even got a little high on that one, Montgomery, but was so determined and had such support behind him that he was able to push over for the score. Great Lakes just hammering home a huge upset win. I think that the Independents came into this weekend the odds-on favorite. They had the Division I national champion Brown Bears. They had a lot of fantastic players everybody knew at home, household names in the game of college rugby, and yet here it is, the Great Lakes Thunderbirds upsetting them to really mix things up in Pool A here. Depending on what's happening on the other pitch, we could end up with a 3-way tie. It could come down to point differential here.
It could come down to differential, and that's a good work there from Chipfumbu. You have to think about it, Pat. I mean, you know, we had some of these players for Wheeling, a lot of these players on this team for Great Lakes, lost to Brown in the knockout rounds of the NCR playoffs last year. So you guys out there a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, thinking they owe them one. Players playing out of their skin right now for this Great Lakes team. Independence certainly not finished. I believe the yellow card is over here as we have a little to and fro passing coming from Independent. They're looking a little loose at the moment. They know they need some points on the board. It comes down to point differential. They certainly want to get some more here. Quickly across, coming through the back. Ball into the hands of T7. That one looked like it went forward a little bit, but not seen. So Kamara brings it to the ground. Good defensive work from the Thunderbirds. Coleman Jackson comes in with that one. Penalty against Great Lakes. They're going to go quick. Is Aduke. Aduke is going to get that ball into the hands of Gordon. Gordon not going to worry about it because it's going to be not 10 against Great Lakes.
And a back chat penalty. So not 10 plus the back chat. Gives the Independents a great opportunity to score and punch it in. Not entirely sure how much time's left on the clock. We lost it for a little bit there, but we're definitely under 10. Could be under 5. And the Independents are playing with a real sense of urgency here.
See where they decide to go with this one. Corp in the middle of the line. They're going to go to him quickly, and down they come. Going to try to drive this one in. Great Lakes going to have to be careful. Referee whistles it up, however, for players coming in. Offside positions. There's going to be a scrum here for Great Lakes on the obstruction.
Huge break for the Great Lakes. That's the way to evade getting mowed over by that maul, is to avoid having to deal with it altogether. And in that instance, it was just unfortunately a little bit of obstruction. You got to pull in that defense and you got to bind on them. And if you do not, then it's just going to end up being blocking. So that's what the penalty was, reversing the ball to the Great Lakes. Let's see if the Independents can muster up. They've got a mighty scrum. They can muster up a push here to turn that ball back over.
Independents trying to drive this one through, getting the squeeze on. Ball comes back around. 2 of them players diving in. Referee says you got to play that ball, but it seems to have come back. Did come back there, and here goes Corbett towards the line. Corbett over the line. Corbett at the line, excuse me. Thought they got that one in. We'll see what the call is here from the referee. Looking to go a little bit wider. They get it into the hands of Robinson. Robinson headed towards the line. Defensive work coming in here, but penalty coming in from the side against Great Lakes. Great Lakes may be about to lose a player.
At this point, late in the game, every time that he has to stop and talk, he is giving Great Lakes an absolute present, especially if it doesn't come with a card. He's just now melted 40 seconds off the clock for the Independents, when they should arguably be playing up a man at this point. So let's
Hold on.